Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's stand and raise our voices together with our joy song. There's sunshine in my soul today. I think Nancy's going to be cell phone or turn it on silent so it doesn't interrupt the service. Today our speaker is going to be Doug. And our guest musician is our beloved Joy Trzowski. And our woman is Melanie.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This is from a book I have called The Book of Hope. It's called The Mantra. I give my life to all there is. I give my will, which is free, to all there is. I will be one with all there is. You are now ready with your companions to understand this mantra which I give you. Before now you would have thought it a prayer, which it is not, or an invocation, which it is not, or a demand from the universal consciousness, which it is not. The key to understanding these lines lies in the second, the words, which is free. All there is requires nothing of you except the opportunity to bring harmony into its own consciousness, of which you are an integral part. Your free will is essential to the working of your universe. To give it to all there is a way of saying that you wish to join in the harmony that is being created by bringing harmony to yourself. You give your life to this process. You do not have to do anything. It is rather that you will become. You allow all there is through your persona or myself to lead you to this harmony. To be one with all there is to enter into the harmony which is being created. You must remember that you are not talking of or to a being outside of yourself. The paradox is that you are a part of all there is, and the harmony you seek already exists within you. In a sense, when you speak the words of the mantra, you are talking to yourself. I realize that this sounds odd to those of us who have had a religious upbringing. You see God as a controlling entity in the sky, when we say that all there is controls nothing, any more than you control your dreams. All there is only love unfolding and ridding itself of any imperfections. To say the mantra is to enter into love, to fall in love with existence, to wish to be one with that feeling, to wish never to be alone, to dissolve into the consciousness of all there is. Whenever you say the words, you bring yourself closer to all there is, and to your persona, and to me. It is as if you reach out your hand when your own consciousness is frightened, alone, disharmonious, and is taken. In the depths of despair, the words will come and lull you into my cocoon. I wish nothing more for you at this stage of your journey than your ability to make this first gesture, the words, the hand. Have a great day.
Thank you, Melanie. Our opening hymn will be His Eyes on the Sparrow. We'll sing all 4 verses. Stand when you're able.
I'm going to give you an intro. When we get to the verse, the first verse goes like this. That sound familiar? Okay.
Please take a minute and greet each other if you wish. Good morning, welcome.
Hi, Marvin, Jerry. Hey, Wanda. Hey.
Here's Valerie.
Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning. Hi. Good morning. Good to see you.
Let's start the service off this morning with a prayer. If you'll go within with me for just a moment. Father, thank you for the music that we hear, the songs that are sung individually and collectively by us as a family. Thank you that the music is within our souls. Thank you that the message comes to us today, and may it make a difference in our lives. May our hearts be open and receptive to each other and to your presence, Father. And it is so. Amen. Now's the time in our service for our Bible verse. And y'all know me by now. I have to start out in a little bit different way. There were two sisters. One was a redhead and one was a blonde. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble.
Yep.
And they lived together. They lived on a farm and they raised cattle. And one Saturday they awakened and the bull was dead. And so the redhead sister said, well, I need to go into town. We need to find us another bull. You know, we have to keep going here. And so Saturday came and the redhead sister went off to the livestock market. And before they left, though, they had decided, you know, all the money we have to spend on this bull is $500. That's all we've got. And they understood that and they agreed upon it. So the redheaded sister went off to the market, the livestock market, and she was able to find a bull for $499, $1 short. And she thought, well, how am I going to get my sister to bring the trailer to bring the bull home? Well, right across the street was the Western Union office. So she went over there and asked him, and he said, well, it's $1 a word. And she thought, oh, me, I only have $1. And she said, I know what, write the word comfortable. And he heard her story. He said, you mean one word comfortable and your sister will know to bring the trailer to pick the bull up? And she said, sure. She's a blonde and she talks real slow. Come for the bull. Yeah, that was bad. I knew that was bad. I knew it was bad. Talking about comfort. Isaiah 40. Isaiah said, comfort. Comfort my people, says God. Well, let's learn just a little bit about who Isaiah was. Isaiah was a 8th century BC Jewish prophet. Some 2,700 years ago. He was married. His wife was supposedly a prophet also. He had 2 sons. One interesting thing about one of his sons, his name translates to spoiled quickly. Isaiah was thought to be even a vegetarian because he was such a nonviolent person and had such a love for animals. Comfort. Comfort my people, says God. Would help you remember a little bit more about Isaiah. In the book of Isaiah, there are 66 chapters. And just so happens, you know, on Easter Island, those statues there, well, they measure 66 feet across. And also, the United States, when we put up the satellites for the GPS system, we put up 66 satellites circling the Earth. Oh, that's all coincidental, but it might help you remember Isaiah, this prophet Isaiah, and how he said, comfort your people, says God. I always get great comfort from my God and our God. Thank you. Sure. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the statement of being. I always forget. If you'll recite the orders of service. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God, and I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
Wow, there's a lot of reverb. Hey, hey, hey.
Let me fix that.
Okay. I've been struggling with health issues over the past years, and I know that we all deal with that. And I came up with a mantra that has helped me a lot in the past month. And I think it's so interesting that the reading was the mantra. So whenever I do the mantra, it turns into like a melody, and I'm just going to sing it for you. And it's very simple. I invite you to sing along, but it's, I am healthy, I am grateful, I am powerful, I am love. And when you're not feeling healthy, it kind of feels like you're lying to yourself when you say, I am healthy. But what the reading said, which really spoke to me, was that the harmony is already there. You just have to connect with it. And it's true with our health. Our health is already there. We just have to allow it.
Yep.
So when you say, I am healthy, it's true. You just have to allow it. So, anyway. Now I forgot the C chord. I am healthy, I am grateful, I am powerful, I am love, I am healthy.
Now's the time in our service, my favorite time, the healing meditation. Is there any names in the box? Please, I invite you rest. Close your eyes. Take a good seat, feet on the floor, deep, deep breath. Melanie spoke to us about harmony. And I feel that harmony washing over us, even now. We live in harmony, and all is well. We are healthy, we are strong, we are powerful, we are love. John, Jesus told us to love one another as I have loved you. And this outpouring of love, this outpouring of harmony, at this moment, feel deeply within your connection, your communication of our omnipresent God. You are loved. You are cared for. These next 90 seconds to 2 minutes, I invite you to go deeper as we experience some silence for your own individual meditation. Starting right now. Father, Mother God, this one source, this one power, this one presence. Thank you, Father. Thank you for being in our lives. Letting us feel and know that all is well. All is well. Amen. As we are in a spiritual state, please recite the Lord's Prayer with me now. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed is thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will is done on earth as it is in heaven. Thou give us this day our daily bread. Thou forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Thou lead us not into temptation, but dost deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever and ever. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. They are with you, but do not belong to you. Some of you might know that's Kahil Gibran. Today I'm going to share something that's made a difference in my life, and I think it'll make a difference in yours. Just 4 little words that can transform your life. 4 little tiny words. It's not my story. It's not your story. Your children are not your children. It's not my story. Many of you know Oprah Winfrey. She used to have a program she put on maybe once a year or so, and she'd go, it was called Life Lessons. And she talked one time about life lessons, about getting involved in other people's lives and how that felt. And she said, as you get life whispers to you constantly, and if you don't pay attention to the life whisper, then that pebble will hit you on the head. And if you don't pay attention to the pebble, well, then the rock hits you on the head. Now we have a problem. I'm involved in someone else's life, their life story. I have a problem. And if you don't pay attention to the rock, then the brick hits you on the head. Now you have a crisis. And if you don't pay attention to the crisis, then the whole brick wall comes tumbling down. It's not your story. It's not my story. In Luke 10, we can hear a biblical story about this. Luke 10:38. This is where Jesus is coming through Bethany. He's going to a festival in Jerusalem. Bethany is about 2 miles outside of Jerusalem. And he meets up with Martha. And she invites Jesus and the disciples into her home. So it's Jesus, the disciples, and of course Martha, and then her sister Mary, and then Lazarus. So there's about 14 or so people there. Martha's in the background, busy trying to make the meal, get things prepared. There's a lot of people over here. You can probably hear in the kitchen the pottery clanking together, and she's muttering under her breath. You see, Mary didn't come to help her. Y'all heard that. Mary just didn't come to help her. And she looked out there, and Mary's sitting at the foot of Jesus. That's even worse, because that's where the disciples are supposed to sit. How dare Mary sit there and leave me in here with all this work? And so as she was preparing things and getting things ready and getting the table ready, because having 14 people over unexpectedly, that's a lot. Well, Martha had had enough. She just had enough. She went to Jesus and she said, Jesus, rebuke Mary if you would. Tell her to help me. Help me get this ready for everyone. We need to have a good meal. And Jesus said, Martha, Martha, it's not your story. It's not your story. Mary's doing what she's supposed to be doing. She's listening. She's paying attention. This is not your story. So we can see in the Bible sometimes where it's not your story is used. You know, when I was a little tykester, I remember we had, one summer, we had these visitors, related somehow, from thousands of miles away. I was just a tykester. I remember this. I'd only met them once or twice my whole life. But they came this one summer. And I'm going to give them names. Uncle Bill and Aunt Ruth. That's who we're going to call them. Aunt Betty. That's even better. Uncle Bill and Aunt Betty. When we were in a parlor, in a house in a parlor, everyone visiting and all that, and people had walked out of the room. But I was still within earshot of Uncle Bill and Aunt Betty. And I heard Uncle Bill turn to Aunt Betty and he said, "Am I thirsty yet?" I thought, what? See, I'm just a little guy. But it didn't sound right. And he said it again, "Am I thirsty yet, Betty?" Well, at the time, I had never heard of competency, that buzzword. But even to a little tyke, I knew that didn't sound right. It just didn't sound right. I was thinking, you know, a grown man ought to know if you're thirsty or not. It's not your story. You ought to know if you're thirsty or not. Several years ago, I used to have a friend, and she had a son. She told me about this several years ago. She said, when my son comes over and he's visiting, and as he leaves, if I hear an ambulance within 5 or 10 minutes, I panic. I have to text him. I have to call him. And I thought to myself, you know, it's not your story. It's not your story. The pebble's hitting you. Your children are not your children. It's not your story. I mentioned to you a little while back about Emil Gibran. He was born in 1883, died in 1931. He was born in Lebanon. His mother had been married 3 times. His father, that was her 3rd marriage. His father was arrested for embezzlement. So the family fled Lebanon, and they came to the United States when he was just 8 or 9 years old. And they settled in Boston. That was a pretty good area for Lebanese at the time. Well, he had to join a special school because he was an immigrant and he did not speak very good English. And of course, we know how well he excelled at that. He was also a gifted painter. He was a good watercolor painter. So not only was the man gifted in poetry and prose and painting, quite a Renaissance man. He is one of the 3 best-selling poets of all time, right behind Shakespeare and Lazio. 3rd on the list. His greatest works were in 1923 when he produced and published The Prophet. It became something of a, in the 1930s it was well sold, and in the 60s again it started selling well, The Prophet. Well, as I said, he died in 1931. And on his grave, if you could see his grave, he's buried in Lebanon, he has an epitaph put on it. And it says, I am still alive. I'm standing beside you. Close your eyes, and I am in front of you. It's like someone's looking at the grave, and he's saying, close your eyes, I'm alive, I'm in front of you. Sounds sort of divine science, and to me, he transitions, but yet I'm still alive. This best-selling poet, artist, prolific prose writer, what you don't know is the last couple of years of his life, he secluded and barricaded himself in his apartment and drank himself to death. He died of cirrhosis of the liver at age 48. You see, that's not our story. It's not our story. This man who was so prolific died at the age of 48. It's not our story. I want to get just a little personal with you, and I'll tell you something personal to me. I have someone very dear to me, very close to me, that is struggling with life right now. The marriage is not working out, the job isn't working out, nothing is working out. It's just not working out. Oh, I do pray. Oh, I do pray. And I tell you, the capsule or the pill to make all this better is like a divine science principle. One of our founders, Nona Brooks, wrote this some years ago. She said, "Does the outcome seem what I desired? I do not doubt, nor do I fear. All is well. Though in my humanness, I sometimes don't perceive the good that's going on, working on. But I am serene, for I know in whom I believe. That's the secret. For I know in whom I believe." No, that's not my story. But I know in whom I believe. Thank you. Will you go within with me? God, we know often the pebbles hit us upside the head. We know the true way is to, of course, care about other people and other people's lives, but to live our own life in trueness. You see, Father, it's not our story. Thank you, Father, for whom I believe, and I am serene. Amen.
This is a song I wrote called I Sing, and it's how I express joy. Do 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 show it hides within my heart, but if I keep it tucked inside, it breaks apart. That's when I sing. That's when I sing.
Now's the time in our service for the blessing of the gifts. Thank you, Doug, for that inspirational message, and Joy for blessing us with your talent. You'll find it in your orders of service. Let's sing together. Today, I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will, which is abundant in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I am open and receptive to the increased flow of abundance to me right now. I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely of the special gift that I am. Through me, God, omnipresent, blesses and multiplies this gift for all. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Douglas, my friend, would you care? Would you care to pass that along? No, that's.
Let's go that way. I'll pass the prayer basket.
I just slowly
Don't
go
know
down
the
the
drill.
aisle and I look like I'm doing something
Take
right.
a name if you wish. Bless yourself this week as well as the other person.
Bless you all. Bless you. Thank you. No, I can't.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jack.
Okay, we're gonna get the most important thing out of the way today, birthdays. Yay! Okay, August birthdays are Becky, Nancy, Melanie, and Carrie Rothrock. Melanie, Becky, and Nancy are here, so let's sing happy birthday to them. Yay! And come next door and enjoy birthday cake. We appreciate the people that have stepped up to bring birthday cakes on Sundays, besides myself and Bob. So Jane, thank you for this month's birthday cake. We appreciate that. Okay, let's see. What we got going on here? New order of service. Please feel free to take them home because it has the events on there and other things that might be helpful to you and remind you to do things like we're still collecting change for the church and stuff like that. So just take these home. We have plenty more. You can also print many more. So feel free to do that. This Thursday we're not having Happy Chat. We're going to go to the South Library, County Library again to see another movie. This movie is called The Story of Julius Rosenwald. And I'm not real sure what he did yet. I forgot to bring the flyer. So, but anyhow, all the movies that they've had have been very inspiring. The last one they did was called The Power of Forgiveness, which I have already purchased, so we can show it at the church. We're going to do that at a future date pretty soon. So I'll let you know about that. Not tomorrow, but the following Monday, we have a regular board meeting at 4 o'clock in the annex. So I'll announce that again next Sunday. We're collecting, as you know, we're collecting snack pack stuff for the Oak Grove Elementary School. Also, we decided for the first 2 or 3 weeks, right when school starts, to collect some items for the school teachers because they tend to forget that the school teachers have to buy a lot of their own supplies that people seem to think that the school takes care of, but they don't. So we've got a list. Martha made some flyers and put out, and so we've got a list of things. There's like 8 items that they said they could really use, and so for the first 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to collect some items for the school teachers, and along with the snack pack stuff for the kids. This week's flowers are for Becky's birthday. Say happy birthday, Becky. Okay. And I think that's it. Anybody else got anything they want to say? And I do want to thank the people that went with me yesterday to help Kamara and James load their truck. As I said the other week, they're moving to Colorado. So we got the biggest part of their stuff loaded. It was a long day, but we got it done. And so I thank all of you all that helped. So I appreciate it. And so do they. Some of y'all left before they got a chance to thank you, but they are very, very grateful for all that you did. So thank you. It's you.
You're up.
Our closing hymn will be number 2. No. Our closing hymn is on page 96. Open my eyes that I may see. We're going to sing all 3 verses. Page 96. Open my eyes that I may see. All 3 verses. So I felt this great.
As we are joined hand in hand as a friends and as a church family, Father, thank you for the service today, for the music today. Thank you for blessing each of us as we go forth into the week, and we have joy in our hearts and a song on our lips. All is okay. Amen.
Good job.